I originally was gonna upload this video yesterday, which was the last day of Pride Month, but then it's about what happens after Pride Month, and so I figured today would be better. Today is July 1st, 2019. It is now the end of Pride Month, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that it's not actually over. It's really easy to, especially for people that are not LGBTQ+ people, to see this month. And we obviously get some people, it's not everyone, but we get some people that are like, why can't we have a straight Pride Month? Why, like straight people, let's go to Pride, it's a celebration, it's a party. And you know, Pride parades and Pride events are usually happy, but I think it's really important to remember that that's not how they started out. It didn't originate as something which was a celebration. It was an uprising. It's been 50 years since the very first Stonewall uprising in the Stonewall Inn in New York City, and a lot has happened since then. A lot still needs to happen. Obviously, we've just had Pride Month. We've just had people, companies, corporations, businesses who changed their icons on their social media to rainbows for a bit. They put up some rainbow banners outside of their shops. They put posts about how they proudly support the LGBTQ+ community, and they sold products with rainbows on it for a bit, and I'm guilty for seeing said products and wanting them. I bought those rainbow Converse because they are the best things ever, and it's great. It is great. It is a great thing. Yes, it is trying to make money, and it's thinking, well, let's sell some rainbow things and it'll make some money, and it does. But I read a really good thread on Twitter which was like, it's good that they've now seen that it's better to market towards LGBTQ+ people than to be on the side which does not support them. But already today, it's the 1st of July, and I've seen companies who had a rainbow flag in there as their profile for the whole month change their flag back already, and it's like, what now? Because yes, Pride Month is over, June has ended, that is true. But LGBTQ+ people don't stop existing when June ends. They don't pop into existence on June 1st and leave on June 30th. Unfortunately, the hate, the homophobia, the negativity, the fact that in some countries not only is it illegal for same-sex couples to not get married, but it's still illegal for people to actually be gay in the first place. There are so many countries where same-sex marriage isn't legal, and it's terrifying to think about the amount of countries where you can be arrested, you can be put in prison, you can be killed for being gay, and that is a reality that LGBTQ+ people face every day. Even in countries where it is legal to be gay, where it is legal for same-sex couples to be married, people are still being attacked, people are still facing homophobia, people are still being discriminated against at work, in schools, everywhere. There are people who are struggling with who they are because of the way that society treats LGBTQ+ people, and that is something which doesn't just exist in June, that is something which exists the whole year round. Pride Month is great. It is an amazing month to be able to share stories and talk about issues and celebrate, and it is time to celebrate because we have come so far. We have come so far. When we think about what the world was like even those 50 years ago when that initial uprising happened, when we think about that and think about all of the people that have been able to pave the way so that we have rights and are able to exist, and that's good, that's so good, that's what we want. There's still so much more to go, and it can't just stop being spoken about by the end of the month. We'll put away the flags till next June. We need to talk about it all the time, and obviously I've spent the whole of June talking about LGBTQ+ books and literature and characters, which is something I do the whole year round. I talk about things all the time, obviously. I do. That's never gonna go away. LGBTQ+ media, literature, it is so important. I've spoken before how important it was for me to read Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe, and how I related to Ari's character, and I wouldn't be the person I am now if it wasn't for him and it wasn't for that book. And there's so many amazing pieces of media and literature and things out there which do that for other people, and I think that's so important. And I think what happens now, Pride Month's over, what happens now is that we act like it hasn't. I think the world needs to think about how far we've come, and that's so important, but how far there is left to go. You know, being an ally, being someone that supports the LGBTQ+ community means that you do support it, that you are not silent, that you use your voice to speak out against inequality. If you have a platform, you allow people whose voices might not necessarily always be heard, you allow them to stand up and use that voice, you give them that chance, and you speak up for people. And I think that, you like I said, everyone sort of sees it as a celebration. Oh, we come so far now, same-sex marriage is legal in this country, or another country's legalised it, it's fine. When actually the reality is there is still so much discrimination and so much inequality on this planet and in this world and in so many different countries that I think it's so important. And you know, you can sort of start to take down the flags and things start to kind of be put away, and you think, oh, the parade's over for another year, and you know, that's great, and yes it is, but people are still struggling, people still have experiences, people are still coming to terms with who they are and dealing with so many things. The more it's spoken about, the more that people speak up against inequality, the more that people say, actually no, this isn't right, like you can't treat people like this, you can't discriminate against someone. The more that that happens, the more that that is spoken about, the more that people are supported, the better things will become. And I think that's what needs to happen from like now. You know, the world is in a state where at the moment where a lot of people are unsure about what's happening, and I think it's just so important that if you were a company, if you were a person that was speaking out during Pride Month and you were saying that you supported LGBTQ+ people, thank you, but can you continue to do that now? Can you continue to make sure that you do that for the rest of the year? Can you continue to speak up against homophobia, against inequality, and use your platforms for good, not just kind of jump on the bandwagon during Pride Month? I've been watching so many amazing YouTubers and booktubers this month have been talking about these issues as well, and it's great. I'm sure everyone's seen Dan Howell's video, and I'm sure if you've been watching my video for a while you will know that when I was a teenager I bloody loved Dan and Phil. I used to watch them all the time, and Phil's videos came out last night as well. Haha. But they're very important, and I think Dan's video it was 45 minutes long, and he went into a lot of issues that very much hit me, and I think it's a really important video. So I'll link that down below as well, to talk about the struggles that people face and that LGBTQ+ people can face and do face every day. And I think Pride Month is over. We will go back to my regular scheduled programming, which is still gay content, let's be real. I just think it's really important to think about that, because I think it's easy to get swept up in the whole kind of thing with Pride Month, like I said, especially if you're not an LGBTQ+ person, because to you, you know, it's just a Pride Month where everyone's sort of celebrating and stuff, and you know, it's nice for everything to be covered in rainbows and to go into a shop and see all of this and stuff, but now that needs to be something which is continued, and it needs to be something which is just normal, that we go in and we see that stuff all the time, and it's always in there, it's always available, and that support is always present, rather than just being there for 1 month where everyone knows it's like Pride Month and afterwards it'll be gone because that's what we do, you know. And it would be great for companies to speak out about it more, to see it all the time, to see what the support that has happened this month all the time, because that support, speaking out, using your voices, making platforms and allowing people who have marginalised voices to use their platforms is what is going to make the world better, and it's what's going to allow inequality to shift. And I think that's the best way forward. It's not easy. There are people who are never going to get it. There are people who are never going to want to get it. There are people who are never even going to want to think about getting it, and in their brain that just doesn't exist. And you know, whatever, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the people that don't even want to try. But if you do want to try, if you're going in the right direction, then we continue to try, and we do that every day. The fight's not over. Like I said, it's so important to think about what happened in Stonewall 50 years ago. It is so important to think about where the world used to be it 50 years ago, past 50 years ago, even 20 years ago, and the way that sexuality was treated and the attitudes that people had. It's crazy to think of how far we've come, and it's amazing to think about how far we've come. It's so amazing, but it's also important to think about the people that are here now and what they can do, and just how far we have left to go, and just how much inequality is still on this planet and still in this world that we have to fight. And we can't stop that fight here. That fight continues every day, and the more support that is there, the sooner that fight will be won. And I think that that's really important to think about now Pride Month is over and everyone's putting away their rainbows. Because some people don't have a choice. Some people don't have that choice to only think about LGBTQ plus issues in June. That's something which is there every day. And yeah. Thank you for watching. If you are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandomy things, so if you want to stick around and join us, then you can do that. And as usual, all the links to all my other social medias are in the description as well, so if you would like to come hang out with me on there, then you can do that as well. I hope you guys are doing really well. Happy Pride, and I will see you very soon. Bye!